Hello, beautiful viewers. Welcome once again. Today's conversation is particularly very important to me. And before I get into today's conversation, this is being live streamed. I do not have a guest because I really want to talk about very key and important things. Number one, before I get into that, thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you to everybody that has supported this podcast from its inception. This year has been an incredible and learning curve. It's been an incredible year with a lot of things that one had to learn, whether I liked it or not. So, thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to all the people that I connected with on LinkedIn. Thank you to the people that said yes to come on the podcast. Thank you to everybody that has been in my life, that continues to be in my life to cheer for me. In all, I have learned some valuable lessons with all the guests that came on the podcast. No matter how little or how big the person is, each person left me with valuable lessons. Valuable lessons that I have put together and looking at in 2026. If you did not get the opportunity to watch some of these videos, I am bringing it to you refined and concise as to some of the lessons I've learned on the show. So, this is what I call the six things that you can do to improve 2026 or your 2026 reset. And I have already started my 2026 reset, and that is what I'm going to share with you. And this is knowledge, this is wisdom gathered on the Nana Yaa Yeboaa podcast with my various guests that have come on the podcast. So, as we step into the 2026, I want us to be clear that a better year does not just happen. It happens with intention, and it happens because there are previous years that we've sown into. Some things we have control of, other things we have no control of in life. And that is okay. We will control the controllables, and those that we do not have control of we will go with the flow. So, I many of us tend to keep things within us. The first thing on the agenda is to close the doors that drain you. It is not everybody you need in your life. It is not every relationship that is fruitful. And it is not every workplace that you need to stay. So close the doors that drain your life. And so before you can open new doors, you must close the ones that are pulling, dragging, or allowing your energy to leak away. There's so many conversations or habits and etc. that you know we have or we've cultivated that does not do us good. And we look at these things. Sometimes it's very difficult, like cutting the umbilical cord, detaching a baby from a mama, but it needs to be done because you cannot always be attached to. You need to find a way to detach. So if you keep carrying all these negative energy, negative experiences, negative friends, everything into 2026, you will feel tired way before you even start. And this these days towards 2026 is a moment to let go. Let go and let it be. Revitalize yourself. A few things come to mind, and this is asking yourself whether you're stuck or what keeps me stuck. And that is one question I've been asking myself a lot. Why can't I do this? What is preventing me? What is keeping me stuck to one place? Where do I keep explaining myself? Is it necessary? Do I have to keep explaining myself, or I have to live the life that does that explanation? If something no longer aligns with who I am becoming, or in reverse, you ask, what no longer aligns to who I am becoming? And I know one of my very good friends, we, you know, couple to work every morning. And these are some of the conversations we have. Having a sense of alignment or non alignment. And what does it mean? What does it feel like? When you are aligned, your mind, body, and soul feels all in one. You are in a state of flow. Everything you do, it is coming together just like that. When you are not in a state of alignment, you feel off. You do not know particularly what is bothering you, but there are so many little pieces that have come together which is bothering you. So look into that. Have a good friend, a mastermind, a personal coach that you can go to have a conversation with, because many at times we may not see the things that keep us stuck, but somebody else may do that. And the other thing we need to understand also is that growth requires endings. Growth requires endings, which means when we grow beyond certain aspects of us. So the past aspect will end and then a new beginning. And it is okay. It is okay. The endings are not failures. Not every ending is a failure. When you look at endings, you realize that you learn a lot. That is, if you really indeed want to learn, you learn a lot. The endings are also clarifying. What did I mean by that? They are evidence of clarity that this is no longer, it needs to stop, and a new beginning. I will give you an example of closing the doors that drain you. I think I have shared earlier on this podcast that I pivoted from bedside nursing into leadership. And the reason I pivoted was not, number one, I had outgrown the space that I was in. Number two, it was draining me so psychologically, physically, emotionally. I had become a shadow of myself. Yes, you see me doing the podcast and everything, but I was not in a happy place when it came to professionally. So I decided to let go. I decided to let go not because I had failed. As a matter of fact, I had succeeded and exceeded, but it was that time. The clarity was there that when I couldn't stand it anymore, when there was no more patience, there was no more kindness, and there was no more love in the profession, it was time for me to leave. Which comes to the second point. What is it? The second point is getting honest about your fears. Many of us want change. Do I have fears? Absolutely. Many, but many of us want change, but we're afraid of the steps we need to take to get to that change. So, what we actually want is change without discomfort. Yes, there will be changes, there will be discomfort. It all comes together. It all comes together. It is not rosy, it is not comfortable. There is always a sense of discomfort. But are you ready for that sense of discomfort? That is the biggest question. So some of us fear, like our fears show up very quietly. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this. If I quit this job. I don't want know what else to do. This is the only thing I know. This is the only place I've been. This is the only thing I want to do till I retire. Or we stay in one place because we're afraid of the unknown, which tends to kill us, destroy us, or prevent us to reaching our next level. And some of us are afraid of being seen. So we will not show our faces when we have the knowledge, we have the expertise, we have the skills, because we don't want people to start pointing fingers at us. Some of us are also afraid of success. Now, success is defined individually in different contexts. But in general, many of us are afraid of being successful. Why? It is because we've been so inculcated with the idea that successful people are mean, unkind, etc. And this is success tied to monetary value, which is riches or wealth. And some of us have the fear of being alone. And so we stay in relationships that are not comfortable, that are not fulfilling, that do not enhance our lives in any way, but rather makes us more miserable, regret. But because we're afraid of being alone, then we succumb to that fear and we live a very miserable life. So in 2026, I want you to understand that improving begins with honesty. You cannot be honest to anybody than yourself. Honesty begins with yourself. Start being honest with yourself. Name your fears. And I know one of the central things of my fear is poverty. I am so much afraid of poverty because I've seen poverty, I've lived in poverty. I still experience places and spaces where poverty resides, and I know, I see, I feel. And in my work, I want to give, explore, enhance, and help people's lives out of poverty if I can. So I want you to name your fear. Number one, my fear is poverty, and write it down. And then say it loud. So three things: name the fear, write it down, and then say it loud. Because when you name and say your fear, it loses power when it is acknowledged. So when I made a transition from one job to the other with somewhat of a pay cut, I did not think about the monetary value. Not because it was so rich, but what I thought was the peace of mind, the health, the vitality, the ability to utilize my leadership skills in a place where it is needed and it is wanted, and I can be the fullest and the best version of myself. So, in sum, what I'm saying is you do not need to eliminate fear. It is forever there, it is always there. You need to move with courage despite it. It is that courage that will help you cope. So if you are letting fear paralyze you, please, please move with it, move beyond it, and let courage take over. Many times we talk about people that motivate us, motivational speeches, etc. But here is my catch. If you listen to me motivating you, are you doing the work? My intention is not to motivate you, but to transform you. But this is where I cannot force you to do anything. I can give you the tools too, but you will need to do the work. So, how do you build discipline? Every work begins with discipline. You cannot be an indisciplined human being and say, I have done it and I have got it well. Well, that means there's other factors at work. But for many of us, it requires discipline. And that is the biggest challenge. Let me tell you, to do this video today, I had been postponing and postponing and postponing until I said enough is enough. I cannot give any more excuses. It needs to be done. Let's get the ball rolling. And yes, I've had periods of times whereby I have wasted time, I have wasted energy. But today, it was my intention to stay focused and disciplined and have this conversation. So if you chance to listen in, tune in, please do subscribe because next year, 2026, on this Nana Yaa Yeboaa podcast is a different year. The lineup is absolutely different. So back to discipline. If you understand clearly, motivation is an emotional switch. You can switch it on, you can switch it off. I can motivate you, I can hype you up afterwards, and then what? But discipline means structure. And I'll tell you what I do. I tend to have my overall goals list from 2027, 2028, 2029 onwards. But within these is my to-do list daily towards my bigger list, which is where discipline comes in. That I will get up, I will put things together, I will sit down and I'll do this video and I'll stream it live. Motivation, therefore, I want you to understand that it will come and go, but discipline will always stay because you've built in structures, you've built in frameworks that allows you, that assist you to do the work. Therefore, if you want 2026 to be different, you need to create routines that support your health. You need to create systems that support your goals, and you need to create boundaries that protect your time. I cannot do it for you because I'm doing it for myself, but I can share with you some of the things I learned on this podcast. If you did not hear it, that you create routines that support your health, you create systems that support your goals, and you create boundaries that protect your time. And it's been said over and over and over and over. Tiny drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So small daily incremental actions tend to compound. Small daily actions compound. This podcast started with one individual being interviewed, and now there has been over. I've lost even count how many people I've interviewed. Over 50 plus or so people interviewed on this podcast, and it keeps going. The most important thing I also learned is that you do not need a dramatic transformation. You do not need a dramatic transformation, small incremental transformations, and you will get there. And you need consistent follow through. So you don't say, I'll do it, and you not do it. You need to be consistent and you need to follow through it. On the 4th of your 2026 reset, guys, if you don't like reading, I'm a very textual person. Pick up a book, even if you cannot read it, have the book and have the audio version. Read books. The thing about literature or books in general, whichever you want to read, is that it opens your mind. It helps you see things from different perspectives, because the reason being, because we come from different backgrounds, we see the world differently. So knowledge is not to one people or one person, but it is various aspects of these knowledges that come together. And when you find these knowledges in books, you can curate them and create your own. I have read so many books that have helped me transform my life and continue to transform my life. So, me and books for sure. Read books. Take the course. If there are courses you want to take, you're highly interested in taking, I will highly suggest take a course or courses or two. The colleges have courses that are maybe up to $340, $400. Put the money aside, take a course, build yourself, do a certificate course. Next year, it is on my agenda to do women and leadership at U of T, Rotman. That has been on my agenda, and this year it is coming to fruition because I intend for it to be. Join the room. What do I mean when I say join the room? When you get into a space, mingle, talk to people, introduce yourself. That is joining the room. Do not go and be in the little corner and just observe. And I've seen that a lot in the sense that when I go to an art gallery or so, go to places, some people just come and just watch, and the painters or the artists are there and they don't engage with them. Join the room. Become part of the narrative. Listen, because you know what? You never know who you meet. You never know who is going to help you get to your next level. This is an aspect of networking. So if you're not used to networking, make it a point. Because we are so much imbued with social media, yes, you can join the room also on social media by sending emails, by sending messages of acknowledgement, of support, or just a little kind message. I looked at your work, I loved it. Thank you for creating this piece of art, this piece of writing, this piece of whatever. The next one is hire a coach. If you do not have a mentor, there are great coaches out there that will help you. I had never done this year. I interviewed a lady called Krista Jennings. If you've not watched that video, go watch it. Afterwards, I hired her as a coach for this podcast. And she revealed so many blind spots that I thought I had maybe 90% of it covered, not knowing I had only 40% or 50% of things covered up on this podcast. So, hire a coach. The coach will point out things you don't see, things that you think are right, but they are not necessarily. It is a third party looking at you, guiding you, giving you the tools and the framework on how to build and become better. Likewise, attend workshops. If there are any free workshops, whether it's online or in person, I prefer in person post COVID. So whether it's online or in person, join the workshop. LinkedIn has so many workshops. And if by chance I'm doing any workshop and you are interested, sure, join the workshop. Join a workshop that is in tune to you, that you love because it's stressless and you are open and willing to learn from it. See, personal growth is not a luxury, it is a responsibility. I cannot grow you because I am growing me. I'm working on me. Every day is a lesson, every day I'm learning something new. So, you need to figure out whether your personal growth is a luxury or it's a responsibility. In my books, it is a responsibility. That if you do not invest in your mind, your skills, and your self awareness, you will remain dependent on circumstances and other people. You will remain. Remember that. So You will remain dependent on circumstances and other people. So 2026 should be the year you stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for permission and start becoming the authority of your own life. Number five, build community, not just connections. Now, I'll say that in this technological AI powered era, it is difficult, but yet still doable. Why? Because we live in a hyper connected world and yet people feel deeply alone. People feel deeply alone. So in 2026, let your focus be on real community. And real community means you are going to do the work to call, to send a text, to show up, to allow people in. People who check on you as you also check on them. So, real community is people who will challenge you positively as you also do what? Challenge them. People who will hold you accountable as you also hold them accountable. And people who will celebrate your growth as what? You also do celebrate their growth. That is a healthy community. That is a positive community. And to build that demands intentionality. It does not come by itself. The one thing I also want you to remember is that community is not about numbers. If you have a community of three, four, five good people, you are better off than having a community of over hundreds with nobody caring for you or caring about you or holding you accountable. So, quality over quantity. Please keep that in mind. It is about safety. Community is also about safety, trust, and shared values. So, no one thrives in isolation. And also, strength is not doing everything alone. Seek help, look for help, call for help. No one is an island. Together, we build systems, we create community. My sixth and my sixth and final conversation is to live with purpose and not pressure. I understand pressuring myself. I have pressured myself so many times that at a certain point I ask myself, why? Who is pursuing you? If you live in purpose, you take things one thing at a time and you don't stress yourself. So live with purpose, not pressure. So finally learn to let go of pressure, which I did subconsciously. Now, consciously reflecting on it, I have a better headspace. And when I smell and when I'm doing things, I'm doing it from a beautiful garden, watered, creative green space. You also need to understand you do not need to rush your life. That I have rushed my for so long that now I'm coming to the realization that well, if I don't take time, I will be running on fumes. And it took somebody to point it out and say, calm down, bite size, which I tend to use a lot. Do not rush your life. You do not compete with timelines that are not yours. Everybody has their timeline. Everybody will do theirs. And you do not need to perform productivity to be worthy. If you are able to, that is fine. If you are not able to, give yourself the grace. When you have a purpose, it's quieter than pressure. Pressure keeps banging, 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 but purpose, the pieces keep coming together. Everybody you see give you a piece of that purpose because you're in tune, you're in alignment, and you are ready. And purpose, very, very importantly, aligns with your values, your choices, and most your actions. So in 2026, ask yourself, because these are questions that I'm asking me. So I want you also to ask yourself, does this align with who I am becoming? Anything that you're doing, ask yourself, does this align with who I am becoming? Number one, that does this serve my peace? Because peace is very, very important. Does this serve my peace? Does this move me forward? You have to ask yourself all these questions. So when you live on in purpose, improvements become inevitable. Now, I know I've gone on and on and on, and I could still go on because there's a lot to talk about. But I am going to close this episode. And if you have enjoyed this episode, if it has resonated with you one way or the other, take a moment to reflect. Which one of these six do you need to focus on first? At your own time, at your own pace. Remember, growth does not happen all at once. When I started this podcast, I wasn't me, this me sitting here. And when you go further and you watch my videos, you've seen the gradual improvement and the knowledge and everything that has come through. So I want you to understand that growth begins with one decision, and that is the decision you make to say, I want to grow. And if you've made that decision, remember there's somebody else who also needs to hear it, who needs to see it. Please share this episode with them and subscribe, leave a review, and stay connected. So until next time, live intentionally, grow courageously, and remember you are allowed to become more. Thank you. My name is Nana Yaa Yeboaa. Thank you for watching the Nana Yaa Yeboaa podcast. And thank you for giving me your time. And remember, 2026 is a time of change, it's a time of transformation, and you have it in you. And if you tend to be alive, be grateful. You are alive. No matter the challenges, all hands are not created equal. I don't know your challenge as much as you don't know my challenge, but I pray and I wish you all the very best of the coming 2026. Stay blessed.